So I'm working on building a course for a client on diversity and inclusion. And one of the things that's so frustrating is when I talk about diversity, most people just think, okay, so yeah, we need to hire some more women. Or if I talk about diversity, people are like, no, 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 we've got women. There are so many dimensions of diversity beyond gender, people. And especially here, in the Middle East, I know there is a big conversation for and attention on diversity in the workplace that has people focused on the number of women who are in the workforce and in leadership positions in the workforce. That's a big deal. We see women in some areas are 50% of the population, they're 20% of the workforce, and they're 0.5% of senior leadership in the companies. So that's important, and I don't want to negate that. So yes, gender balance, gender equity, closing the gender gap for women in the workplace is a very critical part of the diversity conversation, but it's not the only one. Please wake up, people. So I just happen to be looking at some research around religious diversity here in the UAE, and was reading about a number of different projects that are currently going on, and just the number of religious institutions that actually are here, and the religious practices that are being honored here. It's a great example of religious diversity being an aspect that people don't think about and they don't talk about, and yet it does factor into how people interact in the workplace. It's not just about, are you Muslim or Christian? What about Hindu? What about Jewish? And there are sects and divisions within those that all call for people that have different practices, beliefs, and behaviors associated with their faith that may show up in the workplace, and they need to be honored and respected, which is what diversity is all about. See, remember, it's not just check the box. We got a couple, people here that are, different colored and different gendered, and so diversity is handled. We got to remember the purpose of this is to say that different people with different experiences and different backgrounds bring different thinking to the table, and they problem solve differently, they innovate differently, and you want those voices in your organization to be heard. You want them to feel free to share what they think, share their observations, share their suggestions for where you can cut costs, where you can innovate, where you can create a new product for a client, or create a new way to serve people that no one's talked about before. Diversity is about that, diverse thinking, diverse perspectives that bring a holistic view to your enterprise and all the work that needs to get done. So when you think about diversity, please keep that in mind. It is not a check the box conversation, and therefore you must have the climate for that. Okay, we have different people here, and we want to hear from them, and we want to respect what they have to say, whether we agree with it or not, whether we want to act on it or not. We want to respect it and honor and appreciate that their voices as contributions to the workspace. We want to make sure they feel like they belong, and that everyone has the way of being and acting, that everyone belongs. That's what you also have, is a great workspace so that people feel free and at ease and comfortable to flourish and thrive. So even if it's not about making sure your diverse voices are heard, you want to make sure your people love coming to work. You want to make sure they feel good about coming to work. You want to make sure that they feel inspired by their coworkers, and that work is a place where they can flourish and thrive, as opposed to a place where they feel suppressed, oppressed, bullied, mistreated, disrespected. All of that can also affect employee performance and productivity. All of this is about your human capital, the most critical asset you can invest in. Do it.